Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brooke Berry. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing for the City of Indio, and we're excited to be able to provide a service to not only the people of Indio who are watching, but anyone else who has questions about so many topics that really mean a lot to people right now. Fair housing, rental assistance, eviction moratoriums. And we are here with Pablo Ramirez. He's an attorney with the Inland County Legal Services, and he's actually a guest speaker at tomorrow's workshop and training. He's the housing director for Inland County's Legal Services, which is working in partnership with the city right now on this, on helping Indio residents who are facing evictions or other legal matters as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, maybe a loss of income or a loss of job. And right below him, right there too, we have Jesus Gomez. He's the housing programs manager for the city of Indio, and he's helping facilitate this fair housing training that's taking place virtually tomorrow. So good afternoon, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Brooke. Good introduction.
Thank you so much, Jesus. Why don't you explain a little bit about the training that's happening tomorrow and how Pablo is involved?
Sure. Thank you very much. So welcome, everybody. I'm glad to be here today and share some valuable information to our community members. Pablo is a recent partner with the City of Indio. Just recently, about a month ago, the City Council approved a program where we wanted to expand the types of services that the city offers to help address the impacts of COVID-19. Brooke, you mentioned job loss of revenue, loss of income as a result of COVID-19. And so what the city wanted to do is step in and see what ways can we help some of our tenants that are in particular unable to pay rent, are falling behind on the rent, and facing those kinds of issues. And so what we did is we partnered with Inland County's Legal Services, which is the agency which Pablo represents, to be able to provide these valuable services and help a lot of our community members who would have otherwise not been able to address these issues. What I hope to gain out of this workshop is not only share information about their programs and services, but also other programs that are available here in Indio specifically and in the Coachella Valley to help our tenants and others deal with the impacts of COVID-19.
Pablo, you must get calls about this sort of thing all the time, and I'm sure that's what you do. And so what do you hope to be able to provide not only to people at this virtual training tomorrow, but just in general?
So I am very excited. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very excited to partner with the City of Indio to work together to try to preserve housing. So my goal tomorrow in tomorrow's virtual seminar is to empower City or County City of Indio residents to be aware of their Tenant Protection Act, to be aware of their rights, eviction moratorium, to be aware of their different protections, to ensure they are able to take advantage of the protections, so they can assert their rights against any landlords who seized or attempts to take advantage of them for any reason. So this program brought to us or partnered with City of Indio allows me to communicate this different protections to all the City of Indio residents, allowing them to make sure that they are able to protect themselves and assert their right. So tomorrow's goal is to make sure we educate the community, also to provide all the available resources that are available because of the City of Indio, resources such as helping you defend yourself in court, helping you find a reasonable payment plan, helping you work out a payment plan with your landlord to ensure that you are not homeless, to ensure that you are not facing these different challenges caused by the pandemic. So again, thank you for this invite. I'm Brooke and I'm Jesus.
I want to show people a little bit of what we're talking about here, this clinic and the housing training that's happening tomorrow. This is a free training, right?
It's a free training that's being offered. It's courtesy of Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board. You know, a lot of times we look at the names. Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board is a separate agency. They couldn't join us live today, but they are a separate entity that is also helping the city and our tenants. They do fair housing, tenant landlord mediation. They offer confidential and free counseling to landlords and tenants, and where we kind of expanded from what Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board has done for the city over the years, is expanded to include now the services that Pablo's group provides, which again, the name might be a little confusing. They're Inland County's legal services. And so it's two different agencies, two different services, and it's just a way that we can now provide more comprehensive services to help our India community.
And some of the ways that the city of Indio is helping to protect people right now during this time is providing some funding for these two entities that we're talking about right now. Can you tell us a little bit, for those people who are watching right now, the ways that the city is doing that?
Sure, thanks, Brooke. So the city receives every year Community Development Block Grant Funds, CDBG funds. These are funds we receive just under $1 million from our federal government, from HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And this year, Congress passed the CARES Act, which provided more funding to communities, counties, and cities. In particular, in India, we received an allocation where we can now provide more money to our local nonprofits, in this case, Inland County's Legal Services being one. The CARES Act provides funding to communities to help address the impacts of COVID-19 or prevent the spread or address concerns. It all has to be tied back to COVID-19. And as I was talking to Pablo earlier too, is, the emphasis on identifying who are the residents, the tenants that are impacted specifically by COVID-19. Brooke, you mentioned, for example, job loss, or a lot of people are experiencing less hours of work. All that results in less money coming in and a bigger an inability to pay rent. And so these eventually lead to evictions or proceedings, and that's why we have Pablo's group. And again, funded through the CARES Act, funneled through the city, and approved by the city council to fund these programs. So, as a staff person, I'm glad that we're able to help our tenants and provide these services. But it came down through the feds.
Pablo, by the time people are referred to your group, they're probably desperate. They've probably tried to do mediation on their own, and they feel like you are their last resort. What types of concerns do people bring to you, and what is the easiest way that you're able to help them and show them that there are resources available, that they do have the ability to either stay in their home or pay for whatever they need to pay for?
So first, I do want to touch on Inland County has been around since 1958. We do serve the low-income population and the senior community. Our core priority is to preserve housing. All the services we provide as an organization are free of charge to our low-income and senior population. So generally, when clients come to us, I find that they are coming to us in a dire situation when they're facing eviction, when they're facing a landlord who is taking some unlawful act to try to exclude them from the property while circumventing the legal process. So what we immediately do is, one, we provide them knowledge and information to make them feel a little bit more at ease. Two, we get an attorney based on the resources we have to assist them immediately, contacting the landlord, making an informal attempt to try to resolve the conflict before it hits the court. Three, if direct representation is needed, we are ready, able, and available to represent you in court. For our eligible clients in the city of Indio, we're able to help you by going to court with you and just being there every step of the way to ensure that you have a safe and direct representation and a good experience, in order to ensure that we try to do everything we can to avoid having you be homeless or having you be evicted or having somebody basically trample your rights as a tenant. So we are here, and we do hope, if you have any challenges or questions, our number is listed right under me right now. That number is directly for the City of Indio residents. You can contact that, reach one of our advocates who can provide you any information. If you have any questions, they are definitely available to help and provide you. Under the direct supervision of an attorney, we can definitely help and be there for you in order to ensure you feel comfortable in this process.
That's great information, Pablo, because sometimes just knowing who to call or what to ask makes people feel better about their situation, like they can do something, that they're not helpless, that there are people that are working there for them. So we are getting some questions and some comments on Facebook right now that I want to be able to share with you. So all of you folks who are watching us live on the city's Facebook page or even on the city's YouTube page right now, if you've got questions for Jesus about the housing programs here at the city, or for Pablo about what his particular group is able to offer, or about that training tomorrow, please go ahead and leave them in the comments here. And I'm going to bring Pablo back here and take myself out of this in just a second. And I want to put some of those comments there. This is from Eric Naduriel, who is watching us live on Facebook right now. And he wants to know, maybe this is a good one for you, Jesus, about other direct rent relief programs. And I want to talk about United Lift, because they're a community partner of Indio too, but maybe you can provide some additional information, Jesus.
Sure. Thank you, Brooke. You're exactly right. Actually, we do get calls, inquiries, because people are facing the inability to pay rent. And thank you very much, Eric, for that question. United Lift is a new program. It's called the United Lift Rental Assistance Program, and it's co-sponsored by the County of Riverside, the local United Way, as well as Lift to Rise, 3 agencies that have the experience and capacity to administer these types of programs. And what they've made available from June through November of this year is rental assistance, upwards of $33 million in direct rental assistance to tenants who are facing problems with paying rent. I think that they might be able, if eligible, the tenants might be able to receive up to 100% of the back of rent that's past due, up to like $3,500, I believe, per household. But without getting too much into that level of detail, the disclosure here is that you would need to contact United Lift to find out more specific information regarding eligibility and participation in that program. A website for them is just there. Thank you, Brooke. www.unitedlift.org, and that's a web page that will provide this kind of information. And any tenant that has back rent due can call there and find out more information. So that's available, I believe, countywide, or at least definitely here in the Coachella Valley, including Indio, obviously. So thanks for that little plug there. But that's a valuable resource. That's a good question, and I'm glad to share that.
In fact, we want to mention too, something that you brought to my attention, Jesus, is that for the last couple of months, United Lift, which is that collaboration between Lift to Rise, which is based locally in the Coachella Valley, and United Way of the Inland Valleys, they had this 10-day application period. And now, through the duration of when you can do this, it's been extended for the whole time. So you don't have to wait for that application period. It's ongoing through the end of November.
That's right. I think that started August 15th, just a few days ago, where now, throughout, it's kind of like a rolling basis type of application process. Before, it was a window that you had to apply to receive funding for next month's rent, for example. But in this case, it's kind of on a rolling basis. So that's kind of a new thing that they've done. So that should help our tenants.
I have another question too, and this is specifically about the training tomorrow. And this is from Jennifer Gauchi, who's also watching this on Facebook right now. And she wants to know if the training tomorrow is also to help landlords who are losing money, because that is something that some people don't think about right now, is the position when tenants can't pay rent. That means that landlords are not receiving rent, and they might be holding mortgages or all sorts of things too. So this problem is multi-layered.
That's correct. And the other agency I mentioned earlier, Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board, they have a program as well that helps with mortgages and helps do some mediation and a certain arrangement with mortgage companies, for example. So there is help for landlords as well. I don't know if Pablo wanted to touch on that too.
So the goal tomorrow is for both landlord and tenant alike. We look forward to advising and providing information that's going to benefit each side, whether the landlord or whether you're a tenant. We want to make sure we provide a thorough information to help you make an informed decision, to know each and every rights, to ensure that we are not trampling on one another's rights, and ensure that we are adhering to the law. So I definitely look forward to providing information that will be valuable to tenant and landlord alike.
Thank you, Pablo.
If we do have information as well about United Lift on this stream that you guys many of you are watching right now on Facebook too, some updated information in English and Spanish. And speaking of that, we did talk about the virtual fair tomorrow, but let's get into the nitty gritty. If people would like to attend, how they can do so, and the information about that. And I'm going to bring some of that information up on the screen too, how you can register for that training tomorrow.
Sure. And Brooke, just to also mention that a lot of this information, or most of this, if not all, is available on the city's website, both on the front page as well as on the housing and a few other spots. I think there's one, Brooke, related to COVID-19, and you have a lot of information pertaining to this and other matters that somebody can refer to. So if they're unable to take notes and write things down, just go to the city's website, and a lot of this information is there as well.
We also have some of it going on the bottom of the screen. So if people are watching right now and they say, oh, I can't catch what it is, go ahead and ask for it. We've got all the information kind of queued up right here about the training tomorrow, also about contact information for all of these different groups that we're talking about. So, why don't we just go down the list while we have a couple seconds here? This is some numbers. These are some numbers that people can use. Inland County's Legal Services. Pablo, do you want to just walk people through the process too if they get referred to your group?
So we do have a direct number for City of Indio residents by calling 1-888-245-4257. If you have a housing matter, you would press 1 and then press 1 for a City of Indio residents. Now, this gets specifically directly into one of our queues where you'll speak to one of our representatives, a paralegal or an attorney who can directly provide advice on any questions, answers. Again, we serve the low-income senior population eligible clients. Everything is free of charge, whether you're a landlord, whether you're a tenant, as long as you are eligible, we're happy to help. And our services include a direct representation, counsel and advice, informal negotiations, and assistance with document preparation. All of these services come free of charge in partnership with the City of Indio.
And I do want to emphasize that, many times we see commercials or plugs about different services that different agencies provide. I just wanted to point out that the services that Pablo and his group, Inland County's Legal Services, is providing is actually through a formal partnership that's funded by the City of Indio. So Pablo's group is a legitimate entity. They're here in Indio. I think they have limited access to their offices currently, but we do have a dedicated Indio hotline for Indio residents. And again, I mentioned earlier how that's funded through the city's program as approved by the council, and then money that we receive from the federal government. So those that are just joining us today, I'm glad you can do that, and glad to share this information with Pablo's group.
And just to point out real quick, good point. So we are COVID-19, we are working through COVID-19. We may not be physically on site, but our advocates are all available throughout the county of San Bernardino and Riverside, ready to help. We will be off-site, but we are ready to help, and we're leveraging technology to ensure each and every person gets the help that they need.
That's terrific. I want to just, for folks who are tuning in right now to either our Facebook page or who are watching us on YouTube right now, remind everyone about the information we're providing right now. So right now we have Pablo Ramirez. He's an attorney, and he's a guest speaker at tomorrow's workshop and training on fair housing that is put on in collaboration with the City of Indio and his group, which is the Inland County's Legal Services, as well as the Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board. And these are both organizations that are being funded in part through community development block grant money provided by the city. So this is our way in trying to provide some help for folks who are needing some assistance navigating any legal problems that may be coming up in the housing arena because of job loss or loss of wages because of coronavirus. So Pablo will be speaking tomorrow, and he will be the guest speaker, and also Jesus Gomez, who is the housing programs manager for the city of Indio. And while we're talking here and while we're waiting for more comments to come in, because if you're watching us, please go ahead. Now's your chance. You've got these two very knowledgeable guys here who are looking to be able to provide some assistance. What kinds of calls do you both get from people? What type of circumstances are people finding themselves in right now?
So I'll start. The main calls are people are affected by the pandemic, have lost their jobs, have had reduced hours, have been unable to pay, and find themselves in a situation that they've never been before. Whether you're a tenant or whether you're a landlord, we have a lot of calls coming in every day where tenants are experiencing the impact of the pandemic because of what's going on in the economy. They're affected, so they want to know their rights. They want help with unemployment benefits. They want help with housing benefits. They want help with different consumer issues because of the impact of the pandemic. They're feeling it in every category that they're seeing. So most people that are coming our way are either a tenant who's been affected by inability to pay the rent because of the pandemic, or maybe a landlord who's taking advantage of the tenant situation, or maybe a landlord who's actually experiencing the same loss. So our goal is to try to advocate and help each and every one of our eligible clients in giving them the right information to guide them the right way.
Hey, Jesus, what about you? Because oftentimes the calls come to you or one of the members of your team here at the city before they get to Pablo or someone else from the Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board.
Sure. So a lot of times when the community has questions, comments, or facing crisis, you think of hopefully many times government, and so the local government is here to help. And so I do get calls from folks that are, again, impacted by COVID-19 and job loss, et cetera, and I'm able to refer them to these entities that we've partnered with, such as Pablo's firm and Fair Housing Mediation Board. I mentioned earlier those that are facing they're behind on the rent. I can refer them to United Lift, and so kind of the city serves kind of to funnel information as well as to serve as a resource to a lot of the residents. And so all the things that Pablo just mentioned, those are the kinds of things we receive. A lot of people have questions regarding not only discrimination, starting to feel discriminated against because they have COVID-19. That's a new issue that's been arising, where they feel they're being discriminated because they have COVID-19 or they may have COVID-19. And so sometimes you think, well, that's not necessarily related to being able to pay the rent. So that's kind of a new issue that Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board is aware of, and I'm able to refer those kinds of things to. Also, a landlord may have a question: what can I do when they're not paying the rent? What are my rights and responsibilities? So in the case of Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board and the city, we represent, we want to help tenants as well as landlords, right? So each has rights, each has responsibilities. So it's kind of, we said it's our obligation to inform them. And because the city cannot get into the legalities and rights, we have the right folks to refer them to, and that's kind of what I do. I funnel the right information to the right folks and make the referrals as needed.
So let's bring up the information then about the virtual housing training that's taking place tomorrow. We have the information out on our social media and here bilingually. Will there be someone that's available to do translation during the training tomorrow? And if not, are those services available?
There will be translations. You can see it's kind of in English and Spanish. There will be translations available for that. Absolutely.
Pablo, what do you want people to walk away from this training with tomorrow?
So my goal is to make sure each and every person that leaves there, whether you're a landlord or whether you're a tenant, walks away with understanding what the Tenant Protection Act is. That is your rights as a tenant, what the eviction moratorium does, the benefits and the pros, the judicial council amendments and changes that are coming down soon, and the executive orders. Just have a clear understanding of what your benefits and what your rights are to make sure that you're properly informed to make an informed decision when facing these different challenges that are brought about by the pandemic. So I definitely want everybody who leaves that event to be informed on their rights or legal rights, whether it relates to them being a landlord or whether it relates to them being a tenant.
Yeah, we talked about some of the things that are scheduled rent increases, eviction moratorium, Tenant Protection Act. And I did put some of this information in the comments on Facebook. So if you're not watching live and you're saying, what are all these phone numbers? How can I, can I refer it to people? They're all in the comments on our Facebook page, as well as here at the bottom of the screen. In closing, is there anything else that you'd like to address before we kind of wrap this up? And thank everyone for watching. At one point, we had about a dozen people. And what's great is that even if people are not planning on attending the virtual housing information tomorrow, the training, that this information basically lives on Facebook. So please share it with other people, because it's just kind of your one-stop shop for what you need to know to navigate these times.
Sure, no, thanks, Brooke. I just want to say thank you. I mean, this workshop, as well as this presentation today, is part of kind of the city's effort to get the word out about these valuable programs that are being provided now just recently with Inland County's legal services. And thank you, Pablo, for joining us today. Thank you, Brooke, and thanks to the members of the public for participating. And I hope this information is disseminated and shared with others that can definitely benefit and hopefully benefit from these services. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Anything else?
Yeah. Thank you again for the invite, and thank you for allowing me to speak. And I look forward to seeing as many people tomorrow so we can make sure we get the word out, to make sure maybe you're not experiencing a challenge right now, but just gathering the knowledge and being able to provide the right resources to your friends, to your neighbors, to your loved ones always comes in handy. I have so many family members who are always come to me like, where can I get some help? This is the place. You join this event. Thanks to the city of Indio, we're able to provide this kind of resource for you guys to try to give you the most resources available to deal with this pandemic. Every day, the pandemic is affecting us in, our family members, our loved ones, close family. It's just affecting us differently. And I want to make sure that we can give you as many resources as possible. So when you are hit with it, or if you are affected, you know where to turn. And again, I look forward to seeing everybody. And again, my name is Pablo Ramirez. I am an attorney. Inland County's Legal Services has been around since 1958, 60 years. We have been providing services to the low-income community in Riverside County and San Bernardino County. So again, we continue to serve, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, just so we can give you more information and get you on the road to being knowledgeable on these different facts to make sure you're equipped to handle the pandemic in the best possible way you can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesus, and thank you, Pablo, very much. And we're going to say goodbye to everyone. If you continue to have questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And if we're able to respond to them, we definitely do. We will do that. So we hope this has been helpful to everyone, and have a terrific afternoon. We've got some city council business coming up in just a couple of minutes. So stick around on this Facebook page if you want, because we're going to be shifting gears, talking about other information that is very important here in the city of Indio. And for now, everyone, we're going to say goodbye.